Welcome. For those who do not know much about me, I started my production theater career. My education was majorly theater psychology English, and I have been part of the stage production life for a very long time before I diverted into media. So I've been seeing some productions, and I feel like, well, since there's nobody talking, doing a proper review of productions, I might as well do it because I understand the stage culture, production culture, theater culture. So if I'm in media, why don't I just put some more light on there? And I've been encouraged by people like Kwame Darcy to do it. So today I'm going to review African Art Network's production that it did last week. It's In the Chest of a Woman. It was written by Efo Kojomawe, and it was directed by Ken Fiate. And I think one thing that I did not see over there, that to me, when I was in Legon, it was part of the theater culture, was brochures. Like before you enter the theater, before you enter, when you buy your tickets, they give you a brochure. So when you're actually watching the play, you get to see who is who, you get to see their real names. To me, it was a nice way they used to spotlight the characters, give you a synopsis of the production so that you know what you are watching and you know who is whom. Like this production like this, I watched it, and at the end of the day, there were so many characters, but I didn't know any of them except for those I already knew on other platforms before going into this production. I feel like that brochure culture that has been left out of theater productions now does not spotlight the artist like it's supposed to spotlight. I mean, for certain productions, during the play, they'll put a QR code there, and then you scan. Once you scan it, it takes you to the brochure, and then you see the artists, their real names, the synopsis of the play, the director, and all. And I feel like I didn't see that kind of even the QR codes there to even try it, but I'm hoping moving forward they do it, because I know that the printout of the brochure too is an extra cost. That, I mean, even though theater is doing well, they cannot afford that now. But that thing was quite simple, and it can take you to a website to go and see all that you can see. But as I said, this is one of the productions, or this one of the books that I read in, I think, SS St. Roses. It was part of my literature books at my time. I read it, but this was also a beautiful display of it that was done at the National Theatre on the 3rd and 4th of May 2024. Now, this production basically is about women empowerment, gender roles, family inheritance, rights, and it was basically the story, the synopsis. You know, if I had a brochure, I'll just read directly from the brochure what the synopsis was. The synopsis was basically about a woman who felt like she was being surpassed, or her bloodline was being surpassed because she was a woman for inheritance. So then she turned her female daughter into a man called Owusu. So Owusu turned into Owusu just so he or she, the baby, can inherit the throne in the future. And that thing backfired. But basically that is the whole storyline. And I think one thing that's when the story started, it started with the Owari scene. If you've read the book before, the Owari scene is quite an intricate part of the production. It actually gives you a forecast of what might happen and all of that. It's one of the longest scenes in the production. This particular one, it was quite slow for me. And for me, where I was sitting in the auditorium, it looks like Owusu, who was the main character, the girl that was playing the man just so she can be on the throne. She was playing a woman and a man at the same time. And I think that one was played by Gadede. You see, I'm able to mention her name without the brochure because I know her already. She was played by Gadede, and to me, I couldn't hear most of her voice. The first night I watched, I couldn't hear most because I think she was talking in a lower tone, in a lower register, because she was didn't want to sound too feminine. She wanted to portray that masculine Owusu thing that she was portraying. But in turn, we couldn't hear her voice. You could see that she's talking, but you can't really hear what she was saying. So I missed most parts of the first scene, which is the Owari scene. But I mean, somebody that have read the story before, I actually knew what was going on and all. And then I think that part, it started slowly, but it was steady, and then the speed progresses bit by bit from that scene. And then we saw the next scene, which was the projection of the mother when the queen was about to die, and then they surpassed Achana. So Achan was the one that was supposed to inherit, and then she turned her daughter into a son. So that's that throwback scene. I like the way the ground, the National Theatre, there's a lower ground that comes up. I like the part where they use that to do the first scene, and then the back set was used to show what happened, the throwback scenes and the times that were not captured. So I like that, that scene. I liked it. I like the fight scene between a Chan and the bodied man, although I think that choreography could have been tighter, because the man that did the ghost I forgot, he was a national. You see why we need brochures, so that we can mention their names. Now we are here trying to remember their names. It's not good for theater. There should be a list with their names, because that is why in movies there's always an end credit, so that you see each person, the role they played, and their names. It's part of the production. So it really breaks my heart that they didn't do that for this one. I know he was formerly the dance director, and he played the ghost, the guy that came to come and dance, but wearing looking like the priest. And yes, he is an excellent choreographer. So it really worried me that fight scene, it wasn't a solid choreography. I feel like they could have done more, because the lady playing a Chan in Ding and that Fatima too, you could see that if they really choreographed that fight scene, it would have been solid and like excellent. But I think what they did, people liked it. I saw a lot of applause and all. And for the first time in the theater, I see that men were quiet in the first, second, third scene. Like, men were unhappy, men were being insulted, men were quiet. Like, whenever a child does something that people were applauding, it was never the men. It was the women that were applauding for a child. Like, there was this guy sitting by me too, so I said, women empowerment mad when we prepare them gang. Like, it's like this play was fully women empowerment, and to see that it was written by a man and directed by a man, and yet well executed in perfection, I really, really liked it. I must say that the set was not really anything extra. It's not something you haven't seen before. It's very simple, but it looked royalty and depicted the time frames, the various time frames in which the production was done, the different thrones and different places, the set, the places and the times of the story. It depicted it, but it wasn't anything extra that you haven't seen before. But it was basic, and it did the job. And I think when it comes to the humor side, the first part of the production was well held by General Intatia, who was, I think, the Ochame, or one of them, the people in a Chan's palace, the first part. So he brought the humor, or when he was interacting with the Chan. As I said, if there was a brochure, I could have mentioned his role's name and then how he played in there, and it was such a beautiful thing. I think when it comes to humor, it comes naturally to some people. You can see certain characters that were trying the humor, trying to be funny, but it still didn't hit it. But someone like General Intatia and Clemento Suarez, it came naturally. Like, they were not even trying, but it was coming. And to me, it was very, very exciting. As I said, the mother of Owusu, who was the guy playing the lady playing the guy, did excellently well. Her fight scene, her attitude really carried from start to end. You can see that hubris that led to the catastrophe. You can see, like, it was so glaring, and it was well executed by that lady, whom, of course, because there's no brochure, I cannot mention her name and give her the spotlight, which is why I think theater must find a way of adding brochures to whatever that they are doing moving forward. And then the scene moved from after now. The Owusu left her side of the family and then went to her uncle's place to go and train for the stool. That is when the gossips came in. Auntie Agnes and then Edina Matachi, they were excellent gossips that held the play. The role of town gossips is basically to fill in the roles, things that you don't see in the production. They fill in the roles, they tell you the story. So they are actually the storytellers of the production. Certain things that you don't see, like the guy that impregnated the king's daughter like this, we never saw him, but because of the two gossips, we got to know about him, when he was sent away, when he came back, all of it. We got to know all of it, and I think that role was well executed. Also, there was this lady that was the king's daughter. I also don't know her real name or even her real name, because there's no brochure to it, which to me is really a downside of theater production. She also had the attitude of her aunt. She was very arrogant, and she was beautiful, and she knew what she wanted, and she was an integral part of the decline of the story and how the story unfolded. But basically, I think this production was done well. It was well executed, and the final part, which was the judgment part, where there was judgments pronounced on the daughter that got pregnant. There was judgment also pronounced on the woman that turned into a man, and and so many judgments passed, and death and all of that. I think the lighting there was beautiful. It is the sound that was not coming out well. There was this boom boom sound at the back that I don't think it gelled well, especially with the first night. The first night, no, it didn't come out well. I think the second night it was better. They found a way around it, but the first night they no. But the lighting, whenever somebody sat on the judgment stool, the way the lion's head at the back there turns red and the lighting is red, you can see that this is a serious moment. It was beautifully done. I really loved it. The costumes, it depicted royalty, that kente, everything that has got to do with the African culture, the royalty, the Ashanti Kingdom, the royalty of Ashanti Kingdom, their hairbands, their kete, everything, dancing, crying, everything you could see in it. And I really, really loved it. And another side of this production, in as much as it has got to do with the royalty and the leadership and ruling that has got to do with that era, I think one character that brought another a modern brew political touch to it was Clemento Suarez, and the way he was throwing jabs at Nana. I mean, if you are watching, I could understand how the crowd were reacting to it, because the Nana in this situation and in the situations that he was inferring and the way he was saying things, you could deduce that even though he was throwing a shot at the Nana on the stage, it also meant the current president of Ghana and the current state of the economy now and the things that have been happening. Like, you could liken the things he was saying, not just to the play, but to the current situations on the ground. And that is a correct mark of a director and an actor. They are able to say things that transcends the era of the production into a current situation. And I love that execution. The part where he talked about the fact that schools are Okosia, sorry, dying, all those things. Like, it was nice, like throwing jab, flag bearer, the Baumia, Brofwa Kesie, Sakura for it was beautiful. And as I said, because he was not struggling with the comedy and the humor part, the execution was beautiful and it was well done. I loved it. This production, if I'm supposed to rate it, I think I'll give it 8 out of 10. The directing wasn't like that, but the play was a solid play, so it carried it through. And I think that the director gave room for the scripts to shine without adding too many things that would shroud the production and the storyline. You could see that everything was working, and it did very, very well. The production was long. It was 2 hours plus, but when it moves past the orary scene, it's like you can't get enough of it. It's back, but you can't even turn, and things were moving, and it was beautifully executed. Congratulations to them. I love this production so much. I don't know if there's anything I have left out. If I have, please put it in the comment section. I loved it, and congrats to everybody that worked on it. Gathered there. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of the cast and crew of this particular production. I hope that moving forward, they'll add a brochure to it. One thing I did not like was the media team. And I heard they are from GH Media. It breaks my heart that they have been made a part of productions, and yet they don't learn the rules of the production. Theater production, the production that you are videoing is not as important, or whoever you are videoing it for. It's not as important as those who have paid 100 cedis, 200 cedis to watch in the theater. And theater is creating of an illusion. You are telling the people that whatever is happening on stage, there is a fourth wall that makes whatever is happening in there not you can't break the illusion. Let them feel like, oh, this is a whole world on its own. So the world gets broken, and that illusion gets broken if there's a cameraman who doesn't know how to hide themselves in the corner. Like, it's like you are seeing them as part of the production. And that thing, GH Media, I think your students, your cameraman should be spoken to, or the director should have to talk to the camera guys, because they are not part of the production. And you're almost we came to watch the direct, and sometimes you can even see them blocking the characters, and still they'll be there. I don't get it. All the same, this is my review of In the Chest of a Woman. Beautifully done, beautifully executed. Please follow for more if you like theater reviews. I think I'll be bringing it as much as there's going to be production. I'll be watching and I'll be dropping comments in the comment section. And I think I will say that during the curtain call with this particular production, I realized that the person that was introducing the production crew and all, I think the mistake they made was they kept the director's name at the back. So at the time the director came for his applause and his clap, the auditorium was half full, which to me was wrong. The same way we are spotlighting, or people will sit in the auditorium and wait for them actors to finish the play, the first person that should be introduced should be the director, and then the director will in turn introduce his crew, so that people do not leave the auditorium and after the claps have died and everybody has left and they are in the lobby. That is when you are introducing the director. Wrong. Introduce the director right after the play. Let him take his applause because he did 99% of the work we've seen on the stage. Then he will introduce his crew, but all the same, I think as time goes on, it will shape up. So do subscribe, and if there's anything you have to do, do it now. Haslo cha.